Despite Persona 5 being incredibly popular, I've never seen anyone talk about the fact that Akechi is just straight up stolen from Japanese classical literature. And from an Edogawa Ranpo series no less. And it's not just him either. While anime might not like portraying Ranpo as much as Daze, they sure love stealing his characters. So here's your history lesson. Edogawa Ranpo is considered to be one of Japan's most influential writers, being the founding father of the Japanese mystery writing scene. In 1912 to 1916, before starting his literary career, he studied economics at a university in Tokyo. During this time, he developed an interest in Western authors, most notably Edgar Allan Poe and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. In 1923, he published his debut work, The 2-Cent Copper Coin. From there, he wrote many short stories and full-length novels, mainly detective-style stories focused on solving mysteries or just generally disturbing stuff. If you want to regret reading something, I would recommend The Caterpillar, which was banned in Japan at one point. After World War II, Ranpo worked to promote young and new Japanese mystery authors. He founded the Detective Fiction Club, which still exists today but is now known as the Mystery Writers of Japan, and has around 600 members. He also supported a Japanese paper dedicated to publishing mystery stories. While still releasing his own fictional works, he also wrote many essays about mystery literature in America, Europe, and Japan. He continued to release new works until a few years before his death in 1965 at age 70. What I want to focus on today is his longest running series. Starting in 1925 and comprising of over 50 novels and short stories, we have the tales of Kogoro Akechi and the Boy Detectives Club. This is quite literally Ranpo's own take on his idol Doyle's Sherlock Holmes. Akechi is an incredible private detective who works as a consultant for the police to help them solve the toughest of cases. His unique talents include judo and being able to create flawless disguises. In the earlier stories, he's honestly kind of a loser who loves detective novels and is excited to help out in any case he can, as well as take all the credit for solving it. As Ranpo continues to write, he develops him into the more perfect, handsome, gentlemanly character you'd expect. The Boy Detectives Club is his version of the Baker Street Irregulars. You know, the group of kids who collect information and help out with cases. Except in Ranpo's works, they take on a much bigger role, with the leader of the group, 10-year-old Kobayashi, living with Akechi and appearing in over 30 novels, rather than Doyle's 3. Finally, we have the Moriarty of this universe, in the form of Akechi's arch-nemesis, the Fiend with 20 Faces. Just like Akechi, he's a master of disguise, showing off his skills by committing elaborate robberies. He's fittingly called a gentleman thief. He never does anything to harm anyone. He just likes to have fun, steal some stuff, and mess with detectives. In fact, he often lets the detectives know in advance what he's planning to do. Basic background out of the way, let's talk about some of the weird ways anime and manga have decided to use these characters. Persona 5 is the most well-known example. Of course, there's the obvious reference of a detective named Akechi, but the setup of the story as a whole could be seen as a Ranpo story from the antagonist's perspective. The Phantom Thieves are our disguised criminals. They send out a calling card in advance and act out some very elaborate plans to steal the hearts of people. They're not really doing anything bad. Originally, Ranpo had even planned for the Fiend to be named the Phantom Thief with 20 Faces, but the name was rejected by his publishers. The biggest change is honestly Akechi's character. Ranpo wrote him to be this perfect genius and he knows it. He's confident in himself to the point of arrogance at times. While on the outside Persona's Akechi appears to be the same, we quickly learn that is not the case at all. He's insecure, pessimistic, spiteful, and quickly resorts to extreme violence, the exact opposite of our perfect detective. As far as good places for your characters to end up go, Persona 5 is one of the best. But you're not here for good, you're here for chaos. Allow me to present Pretty Boy Detective Club. This started as a novel series which I have not read. Everything I'm describing is based on the anime and manga. The novels could be better, they could be worse, who knows, I sure don't. The series follows the Pretty Boy Detective Club, a club full of boys who are pretty and are detectives. Shocking, I know. The name of the club is obviously a direct reference to Ranpo's Boy Detectives Club. Our main character is a girl named Mayumi. In Ranpo's writings, Mayumi is Akechi's niece and is one of the few girl members of the Boy Detectives Club. She enlists the help of the club to locate a star she saw when she was a child and hasn't been able to see again since. Together they unravel a military cover-up. that's not really important. Once they solve Mayumi's problem, she decides she wants to join the club, cutting her hair and dressing like a boy in order to do so. Akechi and the kids are noted as masters of disguise. Cross-dressing in particular actually appears pretty often in Ranpo's works, through both the detectives and antagonists. The rest of the story is the club solving more interconnected cases. There's more disguises and tons of other little references to Ranpo's works, including them just straight up talking about the character Akechi. However, overall, this is really bad. Even if you were to ignore the unbearably cringy dialogue and insane plot lines, this is still just gross. One of the characters' whole thing is that he has his legs out, and another one's whole thing is that he's into little kids. Everyone in this is like 15 or younger, and yet they have an underground gambling ring with bunny girl waiters, and that's just the first 2 arcs. This is not the environment you want your most loved characters to end up in. Keeping about the same level of chaos, but much less criminal, we have Trickster. We open in the distant future, the year 2030. The first character we meet tries to off himself like 4 times in the span of 1 episode, nearly making me think this was another Dazai reference, but nope, his name is Kobayashi. Turns out he can't die because of this force-filled thing around him and just wants someone to kill him. It's during his attempts to die he meets Hanasaki, a member of the Boy Detectives Club. He promises to kill Kobayashi if he joins the club. The club is led by our perfect detective Akechi. Well, he's not actually Akechi. The real Akechi was a detective, and the now Akechi stole his name after he killed him. But close enough. Anyway, the club take on odd jobs while also trying to take down the villain 20 Faces. This guy is pretty accurate. He likes to play dress up, never kills anyone, gives out warnings before he does something, and is committing crimes purely to get Akechi's attention. He's also kind of in love with Akechi, which I think makes this BL by legal definition. But hey, not something Ranpo would be opposed to. Of course, being set 100 years after Ranpo intended, the cases involve a lot more giant robots, remote control spy owls, and kiss-enabled hypnotism than the original. I feel like where this differs the most is the maturity of the content. The original Boy Detectives Club was a series meant for young readers. After having issues with his works like The Caterpillar being censored and not being able to sell the books it was published in, Ranpo started making stuff that was safe, to ensure he made money. Throughout the series, the kids don't get hurt. While they're put in seemingly dangerous situations, Akechi always swoops in at the last minute to rescue them. This, though, is not afraid to hurt the kids at all. Like I said, the whole goal of this thing is to kill one of them. Is this the best thing I've ever seen? Not even close. But I don't hate it at all. I enjoyed watching it, and I don't think I was meant to find some of it as funny as I did.
There, you see? I'm perfectly fine. Mako didn't...
But hey, at least it was funny. Personally, if my characters were to be taken and shoved into some random modern series, I would respect Persona 5, not be mad at Trickster, and sue the absolute shit out of the pretty boys. Technically speaking, Ranpo's copyright over his stuff hasn't expired yet, so that's still on the table. Thank you for your time.